Hey, Colabcoaching here again to share some wise words and wisdom for the week. This is a brand new series. I'm so excited to start this new series because we're gonna go deep, deep as in deep. We're gonna go so into this topic that we're gonna have revelations from this topic. And this new series is titled Your Past, the series. Your Past, the series. We're talking about your past. We're going to go into your closets that you have your skeletons in, and we're going to let them all come to the light. Now, the question I have for you this week, to propose to you this week, is what does your past tell you about yourself? What does your past tell you about yourself? When we talk about past, it either goes two ways. Either your past was really positive, real pleasant, or your past was terrible and you don't want to talk about it at all. For the people that have a pleasant past, they have no issues about their past, that's awesome. But I do want to say about that is that think about if your past has been holding you back from moving forward or seeing yourself in a higher potential. Because if our past has been so great and pleasant, it puts us in a stagnant position as if we have no reason to go and push ourselves to the next level. It's as if we know that our past was so great that we should just keep that same steady momentum. But sometimes it hinders us from reaching our true potential. And I'll get into that a little bit later. Now, for the people that had a terrible past, a past that they acknowledge as bad, a past that they acknowledge as something that they don't want to relive, that the thoughts of those past situations they don't want to actually talk about or acknowledge. This is more catered to you because I also have a past that is rather difficult to talk about and is something that has been traumatic. You know, when we talk about things that are traumatic, we think that it only associates to something to the highest extreme, such as maybe going to war or dealing with some type of abuse. But when we talk about traumatic as far as our past, it could be something as simple as you not feeling fulfilled from your past. You weren't acknowledging your past. You really weren't having that communication that you needed from your parents or your significant others or from people that you cared about. You really weren't able to voice your opinions in your household. Those are traumatic situations as well. Now, about my past, to start this off with, is that I've dealt with a lot of death in my past. This is something that I had to overcome. I had to grieve over. I had to acknowledge. I had to seek help to acknowledge, and something that I had to let go of. Not those people and those thoughts of those feelings of the people, but let go of the trauma from it. Because if I didn't let go of that trauma, it's taking space. You know, most of the time, our past takes space in our lives that our present is supposed to be taking hold of. You know, we tend to associate our identity of who we are based on our past, but that's not the way we should live our lives. We should always identify our identity as who we are today, who we are in the present, who we are as a person, not what has happened to us, not what has affected us, not what has destroyed us or put ourselves in a negative space. That's not who we are. We are our present selves, and we always should treat ourselves in our present self. So for me, I've had to deal with the death of my mother when I was young, to death of my older brother when I was young, the death of my half brother when I was in my 20s, the death of a lot of aunties and uncles, and having to be forced upon the responsibilities of being the older brother, the person that you had to look up to, that I had to have a persona of I can do no wrong. I had to be that model citizen. And that weighs on you. That weighs on you. And also it weighs on you in relationships because of the fact that when you are in a relationship, that person, that significant other that I'm with, or the person that I was wanting to share a relationship with, they see me as someone that is perfect. That, oh, you're always acting like you cannot make mistakes, or you're always acting like you do no wrong. You're acting like your errors are not really your errors. It's just something that happened and you just got over it instead of you addressing it. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy because I thought that because I didn't address those issues and I just put a facade that everything was okay, then my life will be good. It wasn't until I actually had to get a coach for myself and talk about, you know, the facade that I was putting up that was hurting me. It was hurting me because that facade was destroying my true self. I was stuck in the identity of the person I had to be after those deaths happened. I wasn't living in my present. I wasn't my present self. I was living as if I was still 10 years old when my mother died, when I was 14 to 15 years old when my older brother died, when I was in my 20s when my half brother died. I was stuck in that mindset that I had to live that way to proceed to move forward and to have my younger brothers and people around me to see that, oh, I still have everything put together. I still have everything in place. I'm still that person that you could talk to rely on to make things happen, to make things shake, to be successful, to graduate high school, graduate college, get my master's and all this different stuff. But in the long run, I was being eaten up from the inside because of all the trauma that I've dealt with, all the pain I've dealt with, and all the situations that I never really talked about. If you're that person that was just like me, we have to let go of our past. Not in a sense let go in the sense that we just pretend like it never happened, because we have to acknowledge it. I say this all the time and I'm saying it now that freedom and acknowledgement go hand in hand. If you don't acknowledge your free if you don't acknowledge the pain, if you don't acknowledge the suffering, if you don't acknowledge the trauma, you don't acknowledge your past, you will never be able to be mentally free, physically free, emotionally free. Until you acknowledge what has happened, until you acknowledge how you feel about what happened, until you acknowledge the way you reacted to how it happened, you will not be free. And if you're not free, you'll not be able to live in your present self. That's the one thing a lot of people get confused, that we keep looking towards the future. We keep thinking, oh, the future's gonna be bright. But if you're not doing nothing in the present, if you're not living your life to the fullest in the present, your future's gonna look exactly like your past. It's gonna be a mirror of itself with no changes. So we have to acknowledge these things now so that your present can be bright, your future can be bright, and you can be your best self. We have to also realize that our past tells a lot about ourselves, because it tells us how you treat others, how people have treated you, and how you react to situations in your life. If you went through some type of trauma, you're going to see things in a traumatic state. You're going to see how people react to you in a traumatic state. You might be defensive. You might have your walls up. If you went through something in your past and someone has treated you terribly, then you're going to see the people around you and you're not going to really trust them because you think that they're going to do the same things. Same thing applies to how you react to the world. You think that the world is going to attack you. You think that the world is going to put some type of damage towards you, so you have to put your guard up. I see this constantly with a lot of people, and that may be you right now that you're watching this, that yeah, I do have guards up because my past was so traumatic and I haven't really acknowledged it or freed myself from it, and I see the world in this lens, in this terrible lens, and I can't get out of it. Once you realize this is your past trying to control you, this is your past trying to tell you how to act, this is your past that's trying to force you to think the way that you do now, the moment you realize that, you'll be free. Simple as that. The moment you realize that your past is controlling you, you now know that you don't want to be controlled by your past anymore. Now there are times where you feel like, hey, this is my safe space. Me being negative is my safe space. Me being oblivious to the past controlling me is my safe space. But that's where I come in play. That's why I'm here to tell you that that's not your safe space. Your safe space is your present. Your safe space is now. Your safe space is the person that's watching this and things are clicking in your head that, hey, this is me. I am feeling this way. And your safe space needs to be your freedom. Simple as that. So when you think about your past and you realize that the things in your past really has identified and really has put an identity of who you are today, it's time for you to change that. Because as I said before, your identity should be linked to your present. It should not be linked to your past. If you're dealing with this issue and you need help, message me for more details. Hey, this is the month of April. Sorry, the month of August, and I am pressing forward with this promotion that I'm doing, and that is 50% off any coaching package you choose from. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, who am I? I'm the collab coach. I focus on relationships, but not only it's relationships with your friends, families, neighbors, co-workers, and the most important relationship of all, with yourself. Follow me on Facebook, Collab Coaching. Follow me on Instagram, Collab Coaching. All my videos and all my series are on YouTube. Don't miss out. And share this with anyone that you know that they're stuck in their past and they can't move forward and they need help. I'm here to help them. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe out there. Have a wonderful day.